Well, hello there. Anyway, welcome to the show. Today is fucking Independence Day, where a nation celebrates its independence. And I know what you're saying. You saw the description of today's video and you're like, what the fuck? Steve's turning into a liberal. No, I just think we're failing Americans every single day, and I don't think today is any different. As you guys may or may not know, yesterday I don't know when it was, right around the middle of the show, we started getting reports of a mass shooting in Philadelphia, right? We started getting reports of it. We reported as much as we could during the time when we were alive, similar to what we did last week with the other breaking story there, the cocaine found in the White House, which we broke long before mainstream media, like a full 48 hours before mainstream media, because they suck. Anyway, yesterday, I think it was a 40-year-old or over 40-year-old trans man, which is a man that wants to be a woman, just opened fire indiscriminately, killing a bunch of people. Killed 5 people, including, chasing one person into their home and executing them. The father had to be the one to find their kid several hours after the whole shooting spree took place. Turns out that it was a transgender person. So, of course, the right-wing mob on social media is pointing out, oh, it's a transgender person. Like, what's crazy is if it wasn't a transgender person, the right wing wouldn't care about it either. And you guys know I'm right on that. If it was just a typical mass shooting, like every other mass shooting that happens across America that nobody gives a fuck about, like where, a black dude kills like 5 black dudes outside of a nightclub, right? And it happens all the time. Nobody cares about it. Nobody talks about it. Well, it is what it is. But that's the deal with this mass shooting. So conservatives are going ham on it because this gives them all the ammo they need to go against this whole LGBTQ plus shit. This is what they could do, so it works for them. Conservative or liberals aren't really talking too much about the mass shooting. I'm sure if I go over to CNN, I'd be quite surprised right now if I go over there and the mass shooting is on the front page. Definitely not as pictures. Let's see. Federal judge blocks Biden officials from, we already talked. Well, we will be talking about that. Not on their first page. It doesn't even talk about this mass shooting on the first page, which is pretty interesting because you would think, someone that goes and executes children, a 15-year-old child is dead because of this transgender mass shooter yesterday. You would think it would be interesting, or it would be like a story that CNN would cover. But they don't have it on their front page. Let's go over to MSNBC.com. MSNBC.com and see, is that on breaking news on their page? The tragedy of Republican hypocrisy this 4th of July. Okay. This Ron DeSantis approved ad is vile and is a call to arms. Donald Trump, of course. You gotta know that they're gonna have Donald Trump on there. What else? Who died and made the Supreme Court Congress? Jesus Christ, did MSNBC really become this bad? They are not a news organization anymore, huh? I mean, they haven't been for a long time. But go look at the headlines on MSNBC. Jack Smith is making the most of his summer, and Donald Trump isn't loving it. Chris Christie, DeSantis-Trump feud is like a teenage feud fight. Trump adds Georgia's Raffensperger to his list of real criminals. GOP censorship spreads as more education bans take hold. Joy Reid, I had top grades in SAT score, but I was questioned the minute I got to Harvard. She says that neither of these. Oh, okay. So MSNBC does have. Let's read what MSNBC. Oh no, they got. So at about 8:29. So they got a video of the press conference. They don't even have an article about the mass shooting that took place yesterday. All right, so it's not surprising, okay? So CNN doesn't have an article on it. MSNBC doesn't have an article on it. They do have a video with Outlaw giving a speech. She's police chief. Let's just go just for shits and giggles. Let's go to NBCnews.com. Oh, wait. This is I got to get to the actual white page. Let's get to the front page. Here's MSNBC. The headline article: DeSantis is squeezing the sunshine out of Florida public records law. And then you got signs of life and support for Wagner, bullshit Ukraine stuff, which we're going to talk about later anyway. Parades, hot dogs, and rain. July 4th celebrations across the nation. Something about LGBTQ, but that's just Ron DeSantis. Russia says it foiled the Ukrainian drone attack. Fans keep throwing stuff at artists on stage. When will it stop? Hard-hitting journalism right there. Okay, here it is. NBC News has an actual physical article. Now let's see. We already know that it was a transgender man. We know there was a slight criminal record, but it was a transgender man that did these killings. Let's see what they say in here. At least 5 people were killed and 2 minors were wounded by gunfire when a man wearing body armor opened fire. Oh my God, NBC News just misgendered him. My God. Anyway, the injured are described as boys aged 2 and 3. I believe those were the 2 that were injured by glass. Or no, those were shot. Holy shit. And they're stable at the hospital, said Daniel Outlaw. 2 other people had injuries from glass. Mayor Jim Kenney said he was frustrated that mass shootings continue to happen. He talks about gun bullshit because they don't want to address what the actual issue is, which is mental health. All of those people who were killed were male. Lasheed Merritt, 20-year-old, Demir Stanton, 29, Ralph Morales, 59, DeJuan Brown, 15 years young, and Joseph Wama Jr., 31. They'd all been shot multiple times. Now this is where it goes to talk about the suspect. The suspect, a 40-year-old man, oh my gosh, they misgendered him again. Had a semi-automatic rifle, a handgun, a ballistic vest, and a police scanner. He also had multiple magazines of ammunition. He described the rifle as being an AR-style rifle. He was arrested Monday night. Police said on Tuesday he has not been formally charged. Another man was taken into custody after authorities said he may have picked up a random firearm and returned fire at the suspect. He was released without charges after authorities found no basis that he discharged a firearm illegally. In fact, they should call him a hero and give him a record, right? The guy that fired back at this transgender mass shooter. Anyway, so NBC News doesn't talk about the transgenderness at all. And you would think that would be some correlation, like it would matter that the dude is a transgender, because let's be honest, guys. Okay, and I got to say it quietly, kind of like Joe Biden does when he whispers something. Thinking you're the opposite gender is a mental health issue. Literally, it's called gender dysphoria. It's a mental health issue. And I made an extremely controversial tweet that I believe in most of you guys know my position on guns. I believe everybody should get a gun when they turn 18 after proving that they know how to use it. I mean, that's kind of an extreme. As long as you're not a criminal and you're a citizen, I think that's what it should be, your birthright to get a gun. Because I think guns are amazing. I have guns. Everybody I know should have guns as long as you legally have them, because, well, you can keep your kids safe. You know, I got lots of guns. I carry 2 with me everywhere I go. See what I did there? But I mean, I have to acknowledge, just like every single other person watching this right now has to acknowledge, we have a problem in this country. Of the 10 top mass shootings that have happened this year with the most people killed, 4 of those mass shootings were white people, white offenders. 2 of the shooters were Asian. By the way, they killed more than anybody else, the Asian shooters. 2 were Hispanic, and 2 were transgendered. And if you take away 2 of the white people that killed their families, then you only have 2. And then we're like 2, 2, 2, and 2, which it was a surprise, right? But that's a fatal. Those are the fatal mass shootings. We have a ton of mass shootings that aren't included in those stats because, well, nobody died because they don't know how to aim, which is good. But let's be honest with you. This whole gender dysphoria stuff, we have 2 mass shootings, and everybody says, someone when I made the comment, because it was a pretty good tweet, I thought, right? And I know some of you are likely going to disagree with me on premise because you believe, the First Amendment, rightfully so, is unfettered, or the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, and I understand that argument. I just don't agree with it anymore. But my comment said this is controversial, but I would be in agreement with restricted red flag laws if gender dysphoria was listed as one of the disqualifiers to gun ownership. Think about all the lives that could be saved, not just the mass shooting, suicide as well. Trans people are 3 to 5 times more likely to commit suicide than their peers. If we officially recognize that it is a mental health issue, maybe we could be helped. Maybe we could help them, is what I'm trying to say. And isn't that the goal of all Americans, is to help other people? I know liberals will never go along with that because they want to believing you're the opposite gender is not a mental health issue, which doesn't make any sense. But I firmly believe that if you are confused about your gender and you think you are the opposite gender, you have a screw loose or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So it's someone said it's not a gun issue. It absolutely is not a gun issue, because ultimately you can remove the rights to own a gun. They still get them. We already see that because of all the mass shootings that have happened. Go through them all. Go to gunviolencearchive.org. Start clicking, from January 1st of this year, and start looking at the people that have actually been apprehended and how many of them are legal gun owners. Because at least 2 of the top 10 gun mass shootings that happened, at least 2 of those were people that were barred from owning weapons. And if you then take 2 more who are suffering from gender dysphoria, then you have 4 people that if they didn't have access to guns, guess what? It would have never happened. Do you know what I mean? So what do you actually do to solve these issues, right? Everybody could say it's the guns. It's not the guns, right? And you could say, well, you can't say anything else. And that's the reason why they keep saying guns. Because if you say, okay, well, it's not the guns that are committing the mass murder, it's the people that has them, then you would have to address the fact that, okay, people are batshit crazy. People are freaking out. I mean, none of this shit makes any sense. The fact that Americans are dying on city streets all across America is just fucking bonkers to me. I commented yesterday when I finally just rage quit Twitter for the night. I said, it's not going to be the last mass shooting of the night. It's not going to be the last person to die overnight in Philadelphia or any other cities. In fact, there's been several other mass shootings. Do you guys understand just how weird this country is right now and how bad this country is? You want to know how many mass shootings we've had over the past 24 hours since Philadelphia? Well, there was another one in Indianapolis, Indiana. There was another one in Truman, Minnesota. There was another one in Fort Worth, Texas. There was another one in St. Anne, Missouri. There was another one in Charlotte, North Carolina. There was another one in Lansing, Michigan, and another one in Akron, Ohio. Do you understand? In the past 24 hours, we've had 8 mass shootings claiming the lives of nearly a dozen people. What? 5, 6, 8, no, 9, 12 people dead, literally 40 people injured in a total of 8 mass shootings in less than 24 hours. You know how insane this is? And we could just talk about guns and say it's all guns. You know what? I'm willing to put money that the majority, at least 75% of these mass shootings, the 8 mass shootings since last night, I am willing to put a bet down, hard money cash, that 75%. Matter of fact, you want to go through them? Let's do it, because mainstream media won't. They'll talk about it because it's a transgender one. It gets all the conservatives outraged. But you notice how they're not talking about the fucking 15-year-olds that are dying as a result of it? Let's talk about one. Akron Police Department is investigating a shooting that happened early Tuesday morning. This morning, left 4 people injured. Happened after 12 a.m. in a parking lot at Exchange Street. There was apparently a party there when shots were fired by one individual. The victims, 3 women around 18 years old and one 19-year-old man, said they were hearing fireworks, but instead, nope, those were bullets ripping through their bodies. So that was one mass shooting early this morning in Akron, Ohio. Let's see this one in Lansing, Michigan. There's a party. People don't know how to fight anymore. You want to talk about how it's all guns, right? We removed the guns from the streets. You know what will happen? Maybe we should, because then people go back fighting with their fists like they used to back in the day, because they don't do it anymore. A party in Lansing got a little crazy. People started fighting, and then these little wannabe hardcore gangsters pulled out guns and started firing randomly. We're lucky that these people, these wannabe gangsters, don't actually go and do target practice, and that's why they have a huge casualty numbers, but very few fatalities in these mass shootings. That's why they can open fire and hit 28 people and only kill 2 of them at a party full of children in Baltimore, Maryland, right? Because they're not going out and training with their weapons, because they're not even legally allowed to have them. But those are all just, semantics. Nobody likes this stuff. Let's be honest. Someone said, obviously, someone is reporting about it. We wouldn't know about it otherwise. Yeah, because I am. Melissa, you didn't know there were 8 mass shootings last night. Did you? Has the mainstream media talked about the fact that there were 8 mass shootings in the past 24 hours? This is fucking insane. This is insane. But that's not it. Charlotte, North Carolina. We're going to run through them all right now. 4 people shot inside a neighborhood, 2:30 or 12:30 in the morning this morning. First thought it was a stabbing, but then it was a shooting. Neighbors in the Darien neighborhood, wherever this fucking is, Charlotte, North Carolina, said, when's it going to stop? When are we going to put down these guns? It's just senseless, man. A gun doesn't solve an issue. That was the founder of Team True Blue, a Charlotte organization working to stop the violence. Is it worth it? Have you really thought about it? Are you prepared for the consequences that are going to come behind it? It's all really good, but mainstream media doesn't talk about this shit. CNN isn't going to talk about this. They're not going to highlight the issues that are actually going on. The fact that these kids don't have parents in their house that discipline them, so they go out and shoot. It's just fucking, it's sad, dude. It's sad. Someone said you literally have to go find them because mainstream media won't. Yeah, I know. It sucks, dude. It sucks. St. Anne, Missouri. Investigating a shooting that left a mother and her 2 children dead. 30-year-old I don't even know how you say it, Shell Schamberg. Inside the home, a 14-year-old. Jesus Christ, dude. Five-year-old shot 3 times. It just sucks, dude. It sucks. It sucks. 5 years old. We have a problem in this country, and we have to fix it one way or the other. And unfortunately, removing a gun isn't going to stop it, because these fucking criminals go out and get the guns. Doesn't matter. The people that are committing the crimes, they're not committing them with legal guns. Sure, you may have some transgender dude that legally acquired a gun, although we don't even know that. Everyone's assuming that that's the case. So what they're saying, without knowing whether this person legally bought the gun in Philly that they used to kill these people yesterday, they're just assuming that the gun was legal, right? They don't want to gender the person properly or improperly or whatever you want to say, but they're assuming that the gun is legal and now saying we have to restrict access to AR-15s. They're not highlighting the fact that a civilian picked up a random gun that was laying around and fired back at the suspect, potentially saving dozens of lives yesterday. What they do, they arrested that guy. Luckily, they let him out. It's just crazy. It's crazy. And we have to do a better job just as citizens. Mainstream media has to do a better job at covering it. If you want dramatic effect, you want people to pay attention to what's happening, you highlight it. You put these victims up. Do you guys know that 90% of all these mass shooting victims are minorities? Where the fuck is Black Lives Matter? How come they don't care about it now? I did all those TikTok things, the TikTok arguments, interviews, whatever you call them, when I used to do the TikTok, and I would get in, I'd argue with BLM people. And I would say, why don't you care about these little kids that are getting killed in Chicago or Philly or anywhere else? because I've been talking about every single child that is being killed. It fucks me up, as you can tell. And they're like, oh, well, that's not what Black Lives Matter is about. It's about police. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's about Black Lives Matter. If it's truly about police, then my universal condemnation for the Black Lives Matter movement makes sense. If you want to unify America, right, and you want everyone to understand that, yes, you do. As a black person has a 1 in 5 chance of getting shot by another black person in their life. I don't have that chance of getting shot by another white person. You want to get to the facts and figure out, why do 51% of the murders, why are the offenders minorities? 51% of all homicides in America. How do we fix that? It's not about laying blame and saying people are bad, inherently, or a particular race is bad. That's not what it is. But how do you fix it? Everybody can point out, oh, a transgender person killed more people. This is the second transgender, possibly third transgender attack so far this year. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeting out transgender shooter. That doesn't help prove anything, unless you're trying to prove, okay, that gender dysphoria is a mental illness and they should be disqualified from owning firearms for their own safety. If it's not for mass shootings, it's for their own safety. That's my firm belief. If you suffer from a medical diagnosis with a mental health issue, you shouldn't own a gun. Just like if you're fucking bipolar and off your meds, you shouldn't own a gun. Or if you're clinically depressed, you shouldn't own a gun. Those are my opinions. A lot of you guys likely disagree with that. But that's my opinions. But how do you actually do it? They say red flag laws, support red flag laws. Well, guess what? Red flag laws don't work. If they did work, the Buffalo shooting at the supermarket would have never happened. He should have been flagged by red flag laws. He threatened to shoot up his school 9 months before that. They never did the paperwork. He was charged and arrested for it. They never did any paperwork, never put him on a blacklist. He went out and bought guns and killed a bunch of black people at a supermarket in a racist attack. Everybody wants to ignore that happened, or the fact that this mass shooting that took place in Philly is not off. You know how many kids died on school property last year in Philadelphia alone? It's well into the double digits. In Philadelphia alone, Philadelphia is bad. There's people out there that have been talking about it every single day. It doesn't matter where you are. I don't know, dude. Someone said, I still think adding trained cops are the best. Yeah, they are. They are. Trained cops are the best, but here's the thing: is they spent 2 years vilifying vilifying our police, and then they spent 2 years reforming the police departments. Do you know why the Baltimore shooting that happened last week? You know why that was able to happen? Because they only had 7 officers working in that entire district that night. According to the Fraternal Order Police for Baltimore, they were supposed to have 20 officers working that area. I think it was 4 square miles. That one district, they only had 7 officers. They were short 13, not just because they don't have the budget. No, because they can't get officers. They can't get officers that want a job. People don't want to go out and be police officers anymore. Not just because it's a hard job and you have a high likelihood of getting killed, because we know that now. I think we're already at 200 police officers this year. We're nearing that number very quick. But nobody wants to be a cop. And so then you got people that are going out. You don't want to address it. Mainstream media doesn't cover these shootings. If I was, and maybe that's why I'll never get a job with mainstream media, because I would be hyper-focused on this. Like I joked at Newsmax because they were talking about the cocaine in the West Wing. And I'm like, hi, I fucking broke that story 2 hours ago. But I said, I heard you guys have a DC office. Give me a camera crew and a press pass. We will break the way news reported there. I would have brought the whole camera crew right to Philly and been like, why aren't we talking about this? I'd be banging on the door with a security team, asking, all the neighbors, how come you didn't report the person? You think it's normal, a guy dressed as a woman? And I'm not saying that it's wrong or morally wrong, but it is a flag if you know they have guns. It is a flag. Certainly someone has a mental health issue if they're identifying as an opposite gender. And someone wants to say, well, transgender people, need more rights to carry weapons. Someone actually said that today on my Twitter account, citing data, self-reported data that transgender people are 82% more likely to get attacked than cisgendered people. But you know what the flaw is with that 2021 study that took data from 2017 and 2018? Because I looked it up. You know what the flaw is? Self-reported data. So that means people just go and say, hey, this happened to me, and there's no police report or anything. That's like me saying I won the lottery, even though I didn't, but now you must call me a lottery winner. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, especially not to use that as actual study data. But people still relay that information. But the one fact that is 100% true, the one fact that's 100% true is that transgender people kill themselves 3 to 5 times at a higher rate, 3 to 5 times more than their peers, which is us, other Americans or other people in general. That's a problem. You know what I mean? Because you could make an argument and say, okay, we're failing our mental health system, which we already know is failing. You could say it's a further, failure, but they brush them into their own category, right? And conservatives do a really great job of vilifying everybody that they disagree with. It doesn't even matter for what. So you're not hearing conservatives talk about the mental health aspect that has to do with the shooting. Nope, they're just trying to lump it into its own category, the Philadelphia shooting. Why didn't Marjorie Taylor Greene tweet out about the mass shooting that happened in Truman, Minnesota, or Fort Worth, or Charlotte, or Lansing, or Akron? Why'd she only tweet out the Philadelphia mass shooting? Why? Transgender person. It riles up her base. Maybe she'll pick up a voter because she's taking a hard stance on transgender people. Sucks, dude. It sucks. It's 100% a mental health issue. And you know what? Nothing will ever get done. There's 2 ways that you could stop the violence in the cities. And if any elected politicians are watching, this is what you do. You talk about the victims. You put them on the front page of your newspapers. You talk about them. You highlight their lives. And then you send and you rain hellfire, metaphorically. No, wrong expression. You put cops all over the place. You hire more cops. You raise your taxes. I don't care. Maybe say, okay, we're not going to send all this money to Ukraine. We'll hire cops. We'll give incentives. You want to make your communities better? You want better quality teachers and firefighters and police? How about you incentivize them? I was talking about it with my wife. How come teachers, their kids don't get free college? Right? If education is so important, you have such a hard time recruiting teachers, you have a hard time recruiting police and fire. Why don't you just incentivize it by saying, okay, you do 10 years working in this community. There used to be the Good Neighbor program under Obama, right? That's where if you as a teacher, as a firefighter, EMS, or police officer agreed to live in the community where you worked, you could get a house for 50% of what the mortgage, the sale price of the house is, as long as you continue working there for over 3 years. They got rid of that program as soon, I think it was as soon as Biden took office. I believe that program ran out, or they never extended it or something. There's so many different things. But how you want to incentivize these jobs, the only thing you have to do is actually care about them and do it. How come the unions aren't, going to bat for that? Negotiate, you want good teachers. Who do you think influences these kids? I know conservatives don't want teachers influencing kids. Okay, well, parents got to do it. You don't want to, focus on parents anymore. You want to blame everybody else for everything else. And that's what conservatives seem to be doing most of the time, is just laying blame on everybody else for everything. And rightfully so, because a lot of this fault does lie with everybody else. But in all reality, we as a whole, as a people, as Americans, are failing other Americans. The fact that a 5-year-old could be shot 3 times is fucking insane. It's insane. It's insane. Someone said Trump will be better at recruiting cops and military. I don't even care. Because in our reality, what does it matter? We're probably on the verge of nuclear war right now anyway. Because didn't you hear Ukraine is like, Zelensky held a very impromptu meeting today where he cautioned that they found explosive devices on that nuclear power plant. Remember, I said this shit was going to happen. I said it. I said it on Twitter. I said it during the live show. I said it's only going to be a matter of days. The Wagner thing failed. They needed that to succeed. It failed. Ukraine's going to blow up the power plant. NATO's going to get involved. Even Lindsey Graham's got a war-funded hard-on right now. That's exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. Someone said, we as a whole care more about the predator than the victims. 100%. 100%. Jeff said, I believe there's still an incentive for college graduates to get the loan reduced or paid off if you teach in certain locations. Yeah, it's after 10 years. So after 10 years, they'll forgive $10,000 of your federal loans as a teacher after 10 years. And you got to work in a low income school for three out of 5 consecutive years. Do you know how much it costs to go to fucking school for education now? $10,000 is nothing. Some states like Florida forgives your entire debt, I believe, as an educator, as long as you're working in the Title I school. But I just assumed that was a program that was in every state. Guess what? It's not. That cost us a lot of money because my wife's student loans. I don't know. Someone said, we don't care about the predators more. Our government does. No, I would say everybody does. How many people today are retweeting out the fact that it was a trans shooter, but they're not retweeting out the fact that a 15-year-old lost their life? How come it's not done in the same tweet? Everyone that has outrage because some dude that looks fucking awful, as a woman, wants to live his life as a woman and went out and killed a bunch of people. We're talking about that. Shit, even the Nashville shooter. You talk about the trans Nashville. When I was Googling it today, I literally did trans Nashville shooting. I didn't remember the name of the school or the kids that were shot and killed in that school. Nothing. That's just the way we're conditioned. Eden's Vision said, I'm all for funding mental health as they don't get the help they desperately need. What I'm not for is thinking we could avoid the consequences of the devalue of life. Yeah, and it seems that's what we care about, right? Like, I wish some of those black civil rights people that are always talking about how they're being marginalized, I wish they would just pay attention. You 100% are being marginalized. You're being played. Jen Psaki gets up there and talks about how GOP are convincing Muslim people to be anti-LGBTQ+. She literally did a whole monologue about it. Does she not understand Islam? Does she not understand where they stand on homosexuality? Do you not understand why Muslim people would feel that way without influence from conservatives? It's literally their religion, but it doesn't matter because she does this whole big thing saying it's MAGA, it's conservatives that are brainwashing. These people are nuts. And the problem is that so many people watch them. So many people pay attention to it. So many people hear that hyperbole and believe it to be true. Because again, they must have disdain for Donald Trump. If Donald Trump wasn't running for president, nobody would be, and DeSantis wasn't, because DeSantis, I'll be honest, I think DeSantis, the more I think about it and the more I play where he's going to be politically, I think he's going to do more damage to this country than Joe Biden has done in 2 years. DeSantis, I'm saying. I really think we will be in war, and he was a great governor. But I firmly believe that him as president is going to destroy our country. Far worse than where we already are. We're on a path. We're circling the drain right now under Biden. But luckily, I don't think it's going too fast, or it's not going fast enough or something. But I don't trust DeSantis, and the more shit that comes out about DeSantis, I just don't trust him. And I wanted to. You guys know that I wanted to, but I can't. I just don't. Something's weird. Something just rubs me the wrong way when he's speaking, and that's the truth. I think he would be bad for this country. I don't think Donald Trump's going to be great for this country either, because I don't think they're going to allow him to do anything. Anything positive he does will be overshadowed by every single negative piece of garbage they can throw at him. Sure, we may have some constructive improvements over 4 years, but he's going to hit roadblock after roadblock after roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And the problem is he only has 4 years to achieve those goals. That is the problem that I have with Donald Trump. I still will be voting for Donald Trump because, one, Vivek Ramaswamy, who's also a war guy, kind of, I believe, but I like him, but he's only polling at 20%, so nothing's going to happen with that guy. So we have to throw our support behind Donald Trump, even though I have the firm belief that nothing is going to be accomplished under him. That's my belief. But like I said before, I don't agree with the direction we're going in this country, so I have no other alternative but to vote for him. Deborah said he will not win the general, and I kind of believe that too. I'm hoping that a Democrat steps up and I see. I don't know. I don't know because I can't vote Democrat either. I've never voted Democrat. You know, RFK was probably the closest to it, but he's a Democrat. And his views on abortion, his views on the Second Amendment, I fundamentally disagree with. I can't vote on someone that believes in killing children. I can't do it. You know, someone said Trump might be able to help the middle class if he could do anything. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But that's even if we make it to then. I mean, have you guys followed the news out of Ukraine? Zelensky gave a national address and posted it to Twitter, and it's going viral right now because he said they have concrete intelligence that Russia is going to blow up the nuclear power plant there. Now, keep in mind, they've been saying this for several weeks, but now they're saying the attack is imminent. It's going to be happening within the next 24 hours, and that's going to happen. Someone said, your problem with Trump is that people will stop him. So your problem is with those people. No, my problem is it's partly that, but I believe Trump is going to stop himself as well. Pigar, if you want to know the truth, I believe Trump is going to be his own worst enemy. He's already proving to be his own worst enemy now because the guy can't stop. He acts like presidential for one fucking sentence, and then everything else is the same garbage. You know what I mean? And that's the truth. That's what I believe. Anyway, back to Ukraine. So we heard, we've been hearing about this whole Zephyrus, nuclear power plant and all that shit. We've been hearing that Russia is plotting this attack on this power plant for weeks now. And we knew it was going to happen, right? And I firmly believe that power plant is going to blow the fuck up. I firmly believe that there's going to be a nuclear leak and then NATO is going to get involved. They've already pretty much just said they would do it. So it behooves Ukraine to do it. Now, keep in mind, Ukraine is trying to lay all the blame on Russia. I don't see a military benefit to Russia from blowing up a nuclear power plant that's in Ukraine. I just don't see it, especially if they're trying to take over Ukraine. Having the ability to supply nuclear power to a big portion of Europe would be quite the financial benefit for them, right? That would be interesting, right? Jay Lancaster said, how can they blow up a nuclear power plant they don't occupy? With missiles. The U.S. made, U.S. supplied missiles. It's the same way they blew up their dam. They tried to blame it on Russia. Remember the dam that flooded out their own troops? Remember that? They tried to say it was Russia. And then we find out they did a practice run 3 weeks before that using U.S. supplied HIMARS or HIMARS, however you say it, and shot 3 holes into the dam to see if they could do a controlled demolition of the dam. So instead of flooding out their side, it would only flood out the Russian side. That's publicly available. That's it. And so you have to go, like, if they keep saying it's somebody else, then you have to. Jay Lancaster said they did not blow the dam, Russia did. Okay, so our intelligence officials are wrong, right? The Washington Post, who's saying that that Ukraine did a dry run to try to blow up their own dam, get the fuck out of here, bro. You've been watching a long time too. You know my position on Ukraine. I don't like Russia. I don't like Ukraine. I don't care. I don't think we should be spending $1 over there, is my opinion. But remember the Nord Stream 2 pipeline? They said Russia would do it when it's a Russian pipeline. They could literally just shut it off. They wouldn't have to blow it up. And then everybody said it was Russia. Ukraine said it was Russia that blew up their own pipeline. And then the CIA said it was Ukraine. Remember that? Or what about the bridge? Remember the bridge? There's another one, that bridge in Crimea. They said it was Russia. It was Russia that blew up the bridge. And it didn't make any sense why Russia would blow up a bridge that they control, right? Because in the bridge that they utilize all the time, that's the bridge that they're supplying their front lines with. It doesn't make sense that they would, stage a truck bombing, drive from Ukraine to Russia and blow up the bridge in the middle. It doesn't make a lot of sense why that would happen, right? They said it was Russia. Russia denied that it was Russia. CIA said it was Ukraine. The car bombing. Remember the car bombing in Russia? Remember where it blew up some Russian oligarch's daughter? They were aiming for the oligarch, but he wasn't in it, just killed some daughter of some Russian oligarch. Remember that? They said it wasn't Ukraine. They said it must have been a splinter or Russia acting back. Then the CIA said that was also Ukraine. What about that Polish missile? Remember that Poland missile? Remember that? Jay Lancaster, dude, you're lying here in my chat. We don't allow liars in the chat. So you're on YouTube. You've been watching a long time. Shut the fuck up. All right? Just to be honest. Or just fuck off. Because you're saying no one claimed Russia blew up the Kerch Bridge. Ukraine blew it, of course. Everybody knows that Ukraine said Russia did it. Everybody knows that. Yes, and I'm in the mood where if you disagree with me and you want to do it in an offending way and say no one said this, fuck off. I don't care how long you've been watching. I don't. We're certainly not going to have any misinformation about Ukraine and Russia in here. Let's do another one. Remember that missile that killed the Polish farmer that was riding his tractor, just minding his own fucking business? Remember that missile? For the first couple of hours, they said it was Russia. It was a Russian missile aiming for Kiev that screwed. It went off the side. Remember that? How many are you going to say that didn't happen? And then all the photographers got out there and they took pictures of the manufacturer of the missile, found out that manufacturer makes those missiles right in Kiev, and then found out that those missiles are used by the Ukrainian military to intercept Russian missiles. And then it figured out, it probably makes more sense that they fired it trying to aim for one of the Russian missiles, missed it, and then killed the Polish farmer. That's the truth. Almost every single scenario that Ukraine has said Russia has done, Ukraine has been at the helm of it, or Ukraine supporters have been at the helm. But here's the thing. If you keep trying to blame other people for it, we're desensitized. Paula Robinson, so basically sit down and agree or get out. Yes, exactly. That's what it means, Paula. If you don't like it, fuck off too. Yeah. I just don't want disinformation in my chat. Nothing I've said is disinformation. Everybody can look it up. But I don't have the temperament tonight, if at all. I'm trying to get through all the news. I don't even want to talk about the news. Our fucking country's falling apart. We may be drugged into a nuclear conflict. Alan Parsons said, I think you just lost 50 of your 300 viewers. No, I have 382 viewers right now across social media. So, Alan, I'm not sure. I've never even seen your name. And I love it when people come in there. They disagree with what I said. And they're like, you lost all your viewers since the riots. Yeah, no shit, because that was riot porn. That was a bunch of fucking pansies that sat in, acted all tough all the time, but didn't go out and defend their communities. But they talked real big and tough on social media. Or it was people that didn't have anything to do because we were locked down. So they came in and they watched the shit all the time. We don't have riots to cover. And even if riots did break out, I still wouldn't cover them. You know why? Because I don't like showing that shit anymore. You know? And that's the truth. Why am I yelling at you? Because you're all adults and you can deal with it. Someone said, did I do anything fun with the kids tonight? No. Kids are going to watch fireworks when it finally goes down. I've never been a big fan of fireworks. I've never been a big fan of fireworks myself. Don't really like them. Don't watch them. Russia invaded a sovereign country, a country that we swore to defend. Mistakes have been made, but those mistakes wouldn't have happened if Russia stayed in their country, said Jay Lancaster. Holy shit, bro. Get right back on that Biden dick, bro. I'm just serious. Are you fucking insane? Are you insane? Russia invaded a foreign country because Ukraine was killing Ukrainian citizens that believe they're Russian citizens. That's a fact. The United States already knew it was happening. Everyone pretended it wasn't. Did Russia go entirely too far? Yes. 100% yes. But we already know what was happening. Russia invaded the Donbass region and all that because Azov Battalion was committing acts of genocide there. We already know that. Those are facts. Look at the bills that we had in our own Congress in 2019 that forbid any of our taxpayer dollars to go to the Azov Battalion. Find out why we forbid that from happening, and then you could sit there and suck ball sack, bro. Oh. That's fucking sad, dude. Sad, bro. Oh my gosh. SL said you ain't a pansy. Well, see, it's funny because how many look at how many people in the chat didn't feel that they had to say I'm not a pansy, right? And they all watch the riots with us, right? So they fit into the other category. It's very weird though if you have to defend that you're not a pansy when nobody else did. You know what I'm saying? It's very odd. Jay Lancaster said, "You're falling for the Russian propaganda." No, I'm not. What I'm falling for is reality. I know it's tough, right? When I don't ascribe to the shit that mainstream media. Here's the truth. When did you start believing mainstream media? Doesn't it frighten you that Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, NBC News, Newsmax, every fucking news station is pushing this Russian war propaganda on us? Doesn't it offend you that every single Russian news station has been taken off of the air? Russian media site has been taken off of the air in the United States, so you can't read what they're saying, but sure as fuck, we can get highly edited video of the war in Ukraine here in the United States. That's fine, but we can't see anything what they're saying. Does that make sense to you? No, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense at all, and that's the truth. Someone said we're only protecting Ukraine to save Hunter's paycheck and dementia Joe's. No, I don't understand why we're protecting Ukraine. Maybe just like because you can go on the really granular level and say it's horrible that citizens are dying, that Ukrainian citizens are dying. I agree. I agree. It's horrible. It's horrible. Russian citizens are dying. Jay said, I don't know what MSN is saying. I look for the facts. The whole DNR LPR stories are lies. Okay, yeah, they're fucking lies. Oh my god. Jay, Jay, you've been here a long time. I'm gonna ask you, I'm not gonna block you or any, I'm just gonna ask you to stop for a night in the chat, okay? Because you've been watching for a long time. But you must be drinking Bud Light tonight, dude, because your fucking way of thinking is a little fucked up. All right. So maybe just lay off the Bud Light for one night. Okay. Maybe you'll put some hair back on your chest and man up, and common sense will kick in tomorrow. But this is what happens when you suck the Bud Light, bro. Fucking, dude, you are completely like gone, dude, which is sad. What is this? What's this comment here? Oh god. It was something about running your own trucking company. You're not a pansy. I think. I don't know. I'm glad you run a trucking company. That's fucking awesome. Glad you run a trucking company. I don't know what that has to do with flowers. I'm pissed about the food prepping we were going through to get us ready for war. High cost with bad quality. Yeah. Steve does a good job, as do others. No one knows exactly the entire truth. Yeah. I could just tell you that nobody first Kentucky Moonrunner said, I run my own trucking company successfully, not a pansy, live up to my obligations. Okay. Jay, John said he's willing to donate if you need chest hair donations. Jesus Christ. Oh my gosh. April knew I had. April said, I knew that Bud Light had side effects. Yeah, it does. It definitely does. And someone is so stupid right now. Look, J Rock Gnome saying said, IMAO, talking about yourself in the third person is normal, right? It just shows how fucking stupid. Do you understand? I'm reading the chat. So if someone says Steve and I'm reading what they write, I say Steve too because I'm reading the chat. This dude thinks I'm talking in third person. I'm reading what people are writing. This is interacting with the chat. See, and unlike all the other fucking people that do this as well, you don't need to pay me. I sit here and just fucking read the chat until I don't want to do it anymore. Other people don't read the chat unless you send super chats. No, I'm interacting with you guys. It's what I like. Even when you got people like Jay out there completely brainwashed, sucking the Biden toes. That's what you're doing. Just don't look, God, can you imagine how bad it's going to be when he moves up to the knee? Russia trusting Ukraine sovereignty. We must all support Ukraine. What the fuck? You're in the wrong fucking chat, bro. You're in the wrong place. Yeah. I'm glad to see you're in here, April, with everything you're going through. I'm glad to see you're in here. Your Uptown Lowdown said you were rational, unlike PS. Yeah. So we're gonna have to wait and see. I don't know what's gonna happen. Jennifer said, I haven't gotten your Facebook notification for years. It seems like some reason I was unsubscribed. Yeah, that will happen. Dan said, F Ukraine. I say F everybody, except America. F everybody. I am unapologetically American first. I believe we should be doing everything we can to help every single American citizen, even the ones that have fucking fucked up ideology about what gender they are, all that. I believe it's our duty to help them before anybody else. That's just who I am. That's what I want my taxpayer dollars going to. I think people like Jay are just fine with their taxpayer dollars going to another country. I'm not. I want our money to stay here and protect ourselves. And then when we get to the point where Americans are doing okay, where we don't have veterans sleeping on the streets, where we don't have senseless people suffering from mental health crises going out and killing kids, when we don't have people dying in record numbers from fentanyl overdoses, and from teachers teaching stupid shit in school, and from conservatives trying to destroy everything that doesn't fit their certain ideology, when we get to that point in life, then I'll start to give a fuck about the other countries. But until then, I don't care about the other countries. And is that mean? Is that bad? Is that sad? Yes, that's true. But that's where I believe. And it's not going to change. Steve said, yeah. Steve Prid, and that's not his whole name, but you see it on the chat anyway. It says, yeah, that get me banned, but my opinion is if you follow the money that Ukraine is getting from the United States, I think Joe Biden is getting a kickback from Ukraine. That's why he's so positive about sending money. He's not getting a kickback anymore. He already got it. He already got his kickback. He's not getting kickbacks anymore, you know? So, and I don't believe he's getting kickbacks or any of that shit right now. I believe what's happening is Ukraine, for some reason, we see value in Ukraine. And when I say we, it's not Joe Biden. Come on. You think that fucker's really in charge? It's not Joe Biden. For some reason, the higher powers say that we have to get involved in Ukraine, and they want this war with Russia, which is frightening because I don't know whether didn't you see our military the other day? The picture of what is it, an admiral that doesn't know what gender they are? Yeah. And it's put out by the Department of Army. Come on, dude. It's fucking insane, bro. It scares the shit out of me. It scares the shit out of me. I don't want war. I don't want any of this stuff to happen. I think it's fucking stupid. In all reality, what's going on right now reminds me quite a bit because I'm learning about the World War One and the what happened after that recession. That's what I'm studying right now. That it all scares me. Like I wanted to email my professor and be like, do you think we're on like a fast version of that? Like with recession and with war and all these conflicts between all these countries and all this shit. I wanted to email her that and be like, what do you think is really happening here? It's fucking crazy. You know, Danielle is saying biolabs and Oregon stuff and money laundering. I don't know. I don't ascribe to that, you know, conspiracy theory shit because I try to base a lot of what I say on fact. And you know, and maybe this is different than other people, but the way I get my fact is by reading every single fucking possible news story on something and then coming to a conclusion myself. And I relay that as just my opinion, my fact, my truth. But that's what it is because you can't believe what anybody else says. You can't. You can't believe what anybody says about anything. And that's the truth. Let me see. Someone said the U.S. government is the government in Ukraine, to which Jay Lancaster said, they're not, Jennifer. They're not. Ukrainians are their own people. They're not beholden at all. Get the fuck out of here. If we were to enter a war, would we still switch out presidents when it's time? Yeah, we're not Ukraine. But Jay's probably going to say Zelensky didn't say that either. That he's refusing to step down as president until the war is completed against Russia, even though that just came out last week. Very dictatorial. Danielle said facts. Biolabs have been proven. You could say conspiracy on the other two. Yeah, I think I remember the biolab stuff. That was early on in the incursion, right? Where there was U.S. fund, we were funding, or the NIH, I believe, was sending funds to Ukraine to military supply. But you know what's crazy is Ukraine was, if you work in the transportation industry prior to this war, guess what? You talk to people in Ukraine. You know that dude with an accent? Ukraine was a huge outsourcing hub for freight dispatchers, freight brokers, still is. In fact, they still work there. A lot of it went down south, but it's very crazy. Someone said he's refusing to hold election. That's true. Jay Lancaster, no, he did, and so did England during World War II. Yeah, and fuck England. You think I like England? We're celebrating 1776 today, motherfucker. You don't talk about England in my damn chat, some bitch. Biolab doesn't mean bioweapon unless you mean COVID. Okay, buddy. Jay, you went down like a lot of notches in respect today with your fucking weird, pro Ukraine ball licking. Like, really, you've been watching a long time, but damn, especially now. I think you had one too many Bud Lights today. He tries to say England also refused to have elections during World War II. Do you not know what fucking day it is? We don't want to hear about no English bullshit. Today is Independence Day. Like, shit. What's that? That's from The Wire. The black dude in The Wire where he goes, shit. John said the left is total authoritarian. What? Josh Hahn made a good point. He said, let's be honest, though. The money that we've sent there is nothing compared to what will be sent there when we rebuild Ukraine when the war is over. You are 100% right. 100% right. Jennifer Lawson with the comment of the night. She said, butt light makes you walk funny. That's funny. Yeah, dude. People are crazy. The Wire was a good show. You know what I'm watching now? And I got to tell you, third season's probably the best of the two, or of the three so far. I don't know. I forgot what it's called. The on Amazon, the guy from The Office, but now he's like a CIA spy, Jack Ryan. That one. Fucking show is great. That show is great. In the third season, I think the first 2 episodes are out now. Holy shit. I was like, it's been a really long time since I've watched an episode of a TV show, and I'm like, I want to see the next episode. That's how it is. And I gotta wait till Thursday. This is bullshit. Deborah said, is Frank 01 a thing of the past? Yep, it is. We're out of it. And the way we're doing it is different. Like, if you want a 5-pound bag of it, Deborah, ground or whole bean, let me know. You could just pay me the $90 and I'll send you a 5-pound bag. But April said it's the last season. It is the last season, which sucks because it shouldn't be. The other one that's on Amazon that began with a C was okay. I fell asleep during it, so it wasn't as good, but it was okay. You'll have to check into that one. Our kids are not for sale, is all I could say after watching Sounds of Freedom today. See, I can't bring myself to watch the Sounds of Freedom thing. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. Danielle said, one thing about the conspiracy label that gets me is unless MSN verifies whatever the claim is, it's labeled in a conspiracy theory and disregarded. Not by me. I label things as a conspiracy if they are conspiracy and I haven't verified it by whatever means that I verify shit. Do you know what I mean? That's why when I say conspiracy shit about that, it's because I haven't verified it myself. I know a lot of others, but I only get my sources from certain spots because I don't trust anybody anymore when it comes to news or anything like that. I really don't. I don't trust anybody. I think they all lie. Anyway, if you guys want to support the show, especially you, Jay, make up for that Bud Light that you're drinking. Like, how dare you do it during my show? Uh, you can support the show by doing Cash App or Venmo. We try to keep it away from YouTube, super chats, and all that because they take a third, and I don't like that. But if you want to support my show, if you liked it, and if you didn't, you can send a comment and I'll read it if I get it, or I'll read them tomorrow if I get them after the show. The link is in the chat there. Jeff said, I haven't had a TV for 4 years. Only show I miss is Yellowstone. Yellowstone comes in. Jay, you lucky some. Yeah, that's what he was doing. He was just trying for coffee code of the day. He wanted to be the coffee guy today. Oh, it made sense. It was very out of character for you. I bet that's what was going on. You were trying to be the troll of the day. Too late. You should have said that in the beginning because I would have made you a troll discount for the day. Oh man, if that's true and you really did troll, I should just give you free coffee because you got me going. So you got me going. If that was true, you are a masterful troller, Jay. Masterful. I doubt it's true. I think you just had one too many Bud Lights. But damn, if that's true, holy shit, you got me good. Mima said I haven't seen that one. Where can I find it? I don't know. But yeah, that's it. Someone said I trust my mama, God, and occasionally Steve. There you go. I'll take that one. She did. She said not seriously, but I left that out of her comment. But yeah, so what we're doing now with the coffee, it's a little bit different. If you go to coffeecanman.com, we got a bunch of coffee in there, a bunch of bag coffee and all that. But you'll see the Coffee Can Classic, which is, pardon my French, awake, not woke, all that. I had to change it to make it a lot easier for me and for you guys to have fresh coffee. So you'll see all the coffee, and I actually have so much of it because it's all packed and ready because I have a shit ton of orders to get out tomorrow. But because of the holiday, postal service was closed and all that good stuff. But what we're doing tomorrow, you're going to see that likely there won't be any coffee on the shelves because I'm going to take every bit that I have after I get all these orders out. I'm going to put them in boxes and I'm wholesaling that. So if some of you guys that have been waiting for a big coffee deal, you're going to get it. And then the way we're doing it in the future is pardon my French, awake, not woke, wake up America, victory or death, flying high. They're only going to be available in 16 count cases in whole bean or ground, but they're all coming in cans because for one, it's way easier for me to pack. 2, shelf life because they're sealed. Shelf life is about 4 months. And I tested the first can that I used. I opened this morning. So the first can, the beta can that I did like 6 weeks ago with Wake Up America, or what do you call it? Beta? I don't know, the practice run. I opened that this morning and we used that. You guys used to see it when I was in the other room and we used that for morning coffee. And I tell you what, it was just like it was just roasted. So it keeps it really fresh for a long time. So I'm super happy about that. But because of the freshness and because I don't want to keep a stock of coffee anymore, we're doing 5-pound minimum. So it's 16 cans. But you can fully customize the cans to whatever you want. All of our coffee can orders are going to have your name on the label from now on. Very personalized and special messages in each one too. So it'll be better. And, it'll take 4 days for the coffee to ship. Because essentially, as soon as you place an order, I have the coffee roaster. We switched to a small batch roasting. So it costs me a little bit more. But long story short, it's a way better deal. You guys get fresher coffee. It makes my life a lot easier. Because also keep in mind, my summer school driving starts Monday, and I'm still in school full time, and then the regular school year begins next month. So then I go back to school, back working that way too. So it's gonna be crazy. It's going to be crazy. But again, if you want to support it, you can go to coffeecanman.com, buy a bunch of coffee over there. It's a great way to support the show. Or if you want, click the link in the chat. You can do Cash App or Venmo for people that don't drink coffee. I will see all of you guys tomorrow. I didn't get a capacity today episode done. I may work on it tomorrow, but I do have a big paper due for history, so I may not get it done. But I will see all of you guys tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow I'm a little bit more mellow. And I'll be honest, when I was talking about the mass shootings, here's a little bit you didn't know. When I was talking about the mass shootings, I didn't know there were 8 mass shootings since yesterday. So when I was reading those to you guys, that was the first time I saw it. And if you can't tell, it got me, especially when I got to the one with the little girl shot 3 times, 5 years old. It should get everybody, it should get everybody. Anyway, speaking of getting everybody, why don't you guys all get to that link in the chat, click the button, send a Cash App or Venmo if you enjoyed the show. And if you didn't enjoy the show, send one, even if it's like $5, and then write your comment. I'll read it on the air. Like, do I need to improve? Whatever. Tell me how. All right, guys. I'll see you all tomorrow.